Hey everyone, it's the Koopa Man. Around Easter, I saw a tweet, now known as a post, on Twitter, now known as X, that really got me thinking. It was from the Twitter account of the podcast of the Side Scrollers podcast. If you don't know who they are, you're not missing much. It's just another group of culture warriors. But the important thing is that the tweet in question was a video attachment where the group discussed the idea that there are no right-wing grifters, which is absurd, especially considering I can name 10 of them right now. Grums, John De La Rose and his people, York Torch, Fandom Pulse, etc., Daka 1, Pirate Nation, Ethan Van Skyver and his people, Comicsgate, etc., Quartering, Synthetic Man, What the Egad, Scratchpoint Z, and the Aristocratic Dumbass, otherwise known as Monarchist Dev. And that's just the ones I can think of off the top of my head. There are many, many more. Some even inspired subjects for videos on this very channel. Anyway, in a partially unrelated thread, I said this, paraphrasing, that being incapable of acknowledging fault in one's own side is not being a good member of that side. It's in fact the biggest indicator that the person you're talking to is, in fact, a grifter. So, what makes one a grifter? Lately, the definition has shifted to someone who says something they don't believe for money, but the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines a grifter as someone who obtains money illicitly. And that definition doesn't necessarily indicate that the person does or does not believe the principles they espouse, only that they are using what they espouse to make an illicit profit. After all, John De La Rose, the Lucario-loving degenerate he is, believes every absurd thing he says. The man is deluded after all. It would not surprise me if he unironically believes he's the second coming of Christ. A Christ who beats his spouse before beating it to gay furry porn. Yeah, I got a feeling I'm going to hell for even suggesting that idea. But you get the idea. Plenty on either side of the aisle used their supposed virtue politics to try to cater to an audience who wanted, at the end of the day, to have what they already believed echoed back to them. And that's what they got. When the feminists needed a voice to reaffirm their beliefs about hating their fathers, in walked Anita Sarkeesian to tell them it's okay to irrationally hate men and that they should pay her to keep saying it. When the other leftists, the honest racists, needed a voice to echo their schizophrenic voices in their heads about how a tiny country in the Levantine region somehow controlled the world to the point that it's why they still live in their mother's basement, that's where Nick Fuentes came in, riding on his burro to pass around his sombrero for the pesos to pour in. And when culture warriors needed to be told that everything they didn't like was woke, even when it really wasn't, that's where Jeremy Hambley was, again, hat in hand, ready for them to listen to his 40-minute unedited rambles as he read news articles for them and tells them what to think, before asking them to pay for his wife's new Cessna. It really is that simple, and every ideology has bad faith actors that take advantage for a profit. It's how the news media is formed, after all. On a much larger level, you got CNN and MSNBC to grift views and ratings and commercial time from Democrats, and Fox News to grift it from the Republicans. Both networks know exactly what they're doing. In fact, Fox News' own programming director at the time stated that Obama's re-election was a good thing for them because it'd mean better ratings. This is what I mean when I say, as I often do, that money is the roots of all kinds of evil. It's what the Bible warned us about, after all, because that's what it's all about to these figures. Money, power, and attention, all by any means necessary. Even side-scrollers are guilty of this. Why else would they backpedal and claim they fired the social media manager that started this whole discussion? They feared that the backlash they were receiving would affect their bottom line, so they did whatever they could to protect it, even if Stuttering Craig showed that he absolutely agreed with the sentiment of there being no right-wing grifters earlier, and that's how he proved himself to be one by his own definition. It's not that he believes his social media guy deserves punishment, it's because he doesn't want this mask-off moment to create enough backlash to negatively impact the brand. And you can't even throw a stone on social media anymore without hitting someone whose tweet shows that they're trying to get a big piece of that grifter pie. There was a tweet I saw from one guy whose username used the word chud to show that they're totally not trying to grift off the culture war movement about the game Soros. To make a long story short, I don't care about Soros. It's a PlayStation 5 exclusive, and I despise that console. But the thing is, the poster called it the most Reddit game of all time and Indian cuck simulator, which set off all sorts of red flags in my mind. Not about the game's quality or lack thereof, but how transparently this person is in trying to "how do you do, fellow culture warriors" onto Twitter. So I looked into it via Grok and via Gemini, and even if Elon put anti-woke guardrails onto Grok the same way ChatGPT has woke guardrails, both AI agree that this post was massively misrepresenting what was in the game for the sake of an anti-woke narrative. Yes, even the AI can see this was a transparent attempt to chum the water. I will say this right now, that Elon adding paid tweeting to checkmark accounts was a fucking mistake. Furthermore, if Silent Hill 2 released in today's social media era, it too would have been called woke propaganda trash and portrayed the game as the anti-white guy game. And this isn't some social justice warrior saying this, if you want to dismiss me. It's a 3-time Trump voter saying it. The culture war right wing grift does exist. It's there, and it's taken the same form the left-wing social justice war grift did not 10 years ago. And all that led to was the social justice left undermining their message, whatever it was, with all the bad faith actors, abusive behavior, hypocrisy, and outright greediness of the social justice warrior mob. They flew too close to the sun and had their wings burn up before they plummeted from grace. That, along with economic issues and PC culture going mad under this influence, is why the political left has all but lost all credibility. And if they don't divorce themselves from the culture war movement, the political right will as well. But the fortunate thing, for the most part, we don't need to worry about that because, and I shit you not, the culture war movement has turned its back on the Republican and right-wing conservatism for being, well, not anti-woke or anti-leftist enough. Which is funny because there were numerous left-wing grifters who claimed the Democrats weren't left-wing enough.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme, every stanza kind of rhymes with the last one.
The other fortunate thing is like how the left-wing grifters were largely rejected and exposed, we're seeing the same for the culture warriors. Jeremy Hambley got exposed recently for paying someone with a criminal record to have sex with his wife, a Jewish man at that, despite his histrionics about Israel. Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes fled the country after revealing ties to the SPLC. John De La Rose and Ethan Van Sciver are now in a civil war against each other over whether or not a black indie comic creator can make comics, and the list goes on. So to say that there are no right-wing grifters is insane. Not only are they very evident and very vocal on social media like Twitter, thanks for that Elon by the way, not like we wanted a neutral and civil town square. No, go and incentivize the loudest, most annoying people on both sides with bribes. But Boer bullshit aside, if you're trying to gaslight people into saying your side doesn't have any grifters, I got news for you, that means you are one, and you are just trying to protect your grift. There is no movement that is immune from bad faith actors or opportunists. None. This is the sad truth about human nature. Greedy, prideful, opportunistic, lazy people will attach themselves to any movement for money, fame, and power. All throughout history can you find examples of this, from the Prohibition movement using Christian moral authority to mandate federal laws, to the 80s and 90s moral majority burning copies of Dungeons & Dragons and Harry Potter, to the politically correct social justice warriors engaging in cancel campaigns to get people fired from their jobs, to the current era of right-wing grifters trying to engage on smear campaigns on anything they don't like or makes more money than them, knowing that most people will just listen and believe them at face value for sharing an ideology. It is insidious, it is morally duplicitous, and it needs to stop. If anyone tells you there are no right-wing grifters, or left-wing grifters, or Christian or Jewish or Islamic grifters, or anything of the sort, call them a liar to their face, and do not take anything of what they say seriously, as they expose themselves as being bad faith actors. It's as simple as that. Do not be made a fool of by people who only want to use you for money and power, regardless of whatever beliefs they espouse. You have the right to question everything, even your own belief system. End of. But that's all I got for right now. This has been the Koopa Man. If you like this video, leave a like and subscribe. Hell, leave a like on this video even if you're just okay with it, because I'm sure to attract a lot of negative attention from the very people who resemble my remarks. If you have other examples of grifting going on in the movement, talk about it in the comments, and until next time, game on.